Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Dixie Nichols. Thank you for being here. And if you would like, you can go back to some of my past videos. I've had this channel since 2016, have not really put it to use. Started tinkling with it back in 2020, left it, but now I'm back and I'm seriously committed to making this the platform that I desire and creating the community that I envision. So again, thank you so much for checking out the channel and for being here. So without further ado, I just want to share a little bit about me for those of you who don't know me. And like I said, you can go back up to the start of my YouTube challenge, which was a 30-day challenge here to learn about why I started and maybe check out the 30-day challenge, which got me reacquainted with YouTube. Actually, I shouldn't say reacquainted because I wasn't really acquainted with YouTube. I still am not acquainted with YouTube. I'm just stepping out on faith with the knowing that I have some things to share as an educator, as an entrepreneur, as a health and wellness coach and consultant and strategist. There are so many things that I want to share in the well-being space, the wellness space, especially the well-aging space, and as it pertains to the menopausal journey that includes perimenopause and postmenopause, and of course, all things lifestyle in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. Yeah. So first off, for those of you who are into astrology, I am an Aquarius. My sun is in Aquarius in the 4th house. I'm a Scorpio rising, and my moon is in Taurus in the 7th house. So that means a lot to people who are into astrology, and it means a lot to me now. I am not fully immersed in astrology. I'm still learning a lot about it. But growing up, I always knew that there was something there in astrology that piqued my interest and that my body on a cellular level vibrated with. I grew up in a household where we were told astrology is witchcraft and it's devil work or whatever you may call it, but that's how they kind of referred to it back then. Yet the very household that I grew up in, and I think I might have shared this story in one of my other videos, the very household, my grandmother, she would tell us, you cannot go down to the ocean because during full moons, of course, we know the ocean rises. There's anti-gravitational pull from the moon to bodies of water. And also, don't clip your hair unless it's new moon or else it wouldn't grow. There was that belief, right, that we were told. And my grandmother would read the almanac to my grandfather who couldn't read or write. And so there was this belief in astrology on a level that was unknowing, and an ignorant level, I should say. She didn't really understand that what she was really subscribing to was the science of astrology, because I think it's a science in itself that's just not understood fully by the people who don't believe in it and the skeptics. And so I sort of knew there was something there. I never went around reading my horoscope daily, but in 2026, I picked up, actually, I came upon an in-depth reading of my sun sign, Aquarius. And I read it and I was blown away. I was blown away. I thought to myself, who is this person writing this thing? Who knows me? For the first time, I felt understood. I'm like, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me. And I was like, oh, what is this? So I put it aside, left it alone, then came back to it in 2020, and I did a deeper reading on astrology where I had to know the time of birth, date of birth, place of birth, and that gave me an even deeper insight into how I show up in the world. And again, it blew me away. And I thought to myself, let me test this out. And so I got the chart from my husband, I got the chart from my youngest daughter, and I got the chart from my oldest daughter. And I'm telling you, it was spot on, spot on, spot on. My early childhood was spent in the countryside. My grandmother raised me from 6 months old. I grew up in a small village with about 300 people. That's probably still the population of the village. And my grandmother still lives in the village. She's now 91 years old, and she's the oldest person in the village. All the men of her generation have died, and all of her friends have also passed on. She used to have two best friends. We call them the Three Musketeers. One died last year at 94, and the other died the year before at 93. So my grandmother is now holding down the fort. God bless her. I am also a teenage mother. I had my first daughter at 19 years old and then had my second daughter 13 years later. Both my kids are now on their own. My youngest has gone off to university, and I am what's known as an empty nester. I'm doing a series on empty nesting to envision nesting, so look out for that, because honey, it is not what everybody thinks it's going to be, because I didn't think it was going to be what it was, and then had to take time to navigate and flow through the process. But now I'm on the other side with tons of lessons learned. It took me 2 years to get to where I am today after sending my daughter off to school. I am also what some will call a late bloomer, but to be honest, I do not believe that there is any such thing as a late bloomer. I do believe that we bloom when we are supposed to bloom. So my last video, which you can check out here, was all about comparing the 50s to a stick shift car. And in there, I talked about the fact that fifth gear is very comparative to the 50s because we're able to cover more distance utilizing less energy. So it's much more efficient, and that has a lot to do with what happens in the earlier years in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. Same as a gear, when you go from neutral to first to second to third, you're building up speed, things are progressing, and then by the time you get into fifth gear, you're just like in cruise control. So the thing that a lot of my peers did in their 20s, I started to do it in my 40s. And the things that a lot of my peers did in their 30s, I started to do in my 50s. For me, I'm doing those things later in life. And because of the way the world is, you will hear people say it's very difficult because I'm close to retirement age. But guess what? My grandmother is 91 years old. And if you gave her a job, she would do it. Yes, she's retired from living the type of life she used to, but it doesn't mean that we have to stop working. And I don't want to be that person who stops working because I'm 62. I want to work on my own terms and do the things that I want to do that brings joy, but also brings a financial reward for me. So that's the kind of life that I have built over the past 13 years. And that's the life I'm continuing to scale as I get older. And so, yeah, that's just a little bit about me. I just wanted to come in and share some of that so you get an idea of what I do. In terms of my career, I am a certified teacher. I taught in New York City for 14 years, then left that job for a self-care sabbatical and started from scratch. Started figuring out what it is I wanted to do with my life. I became an editor for a small magazine, was into the fashion world, going to Fashion Week, going to all these different events. That just felt so misaligned for me, and it's not the kind of life that I wanted to live. I think I always knew deep down that my life and the work that I want to do is in support of women and their well-being, especially as they get older. And so I feel like it's by no coincidence that I am here where I am at this stage and this age of my life. Everything happened divinely, and I truly do believe that my life is divinely guided. I tend to listen, even though sometimes I resist. When I release the resistance, I usually realize that it's assistance. So the universe is assisting me to travel the path that I am meant to travel. And I listen and I lean in as much as I can. So that's my reintroduction. If my work resonates with you, please like and subscribe. And if you feel like it, hit the notification button so that you will be notified whenever I post new videos. Until then, I will see you in the next video.